with uh, ethics classes, popularly known as ethics classes, but we'll use ethics, integrity and aptitude. The full nomenclature used by UPSC. Alright, why I am saying so, we'll understand. Why I am giving you all the parts of it: ethics, integrity and aptitude, popularly known as GS paper 4 syllabus. Sorry. So before starting the chapters of it, firstly I have sent you the syllabus individually, the syllabus of UPSC. Okay, this is the syllabus. Along with that, just a minute. Along with that, the PYQs also I will send you. Now, what will be our approach? As we have seen, rather than going through the thick books and a plethora of material available in the market, we will do the smart study. How? We will use the syllabus, each and every pointer of the syllabus, and we will use the PYQs in a smart fashion so that we can aim a score of 140 plus. Okay. And I'll let you know that having chosen psychology as optional, then having done great in ethics paper and the essay paper, you can really ace this examination and you can aim to get a top 10 rank even. Now, how will it happen? I'll let you know the strategy. Firstly, what I'm saying, use your resources, use your time, energy and money as well in such a fashion that you aim to score 300 in psychology. Likewise, through our ethics classes, we'll aim to score 140 marks, and through our essay classes, we'll aim to score 160 marks. You can add up these three. How much are they? 300 plus 140 plus 160. That will be your 600 marks. Now, if you get 600 marks in these three, which is quite possible, psychology, essay and ethics, and out of the three papers of GS paper 1, 2 and 3, even if you manage to score 250, that I am saying the minimum possible. In fact, it is quite possible to score in GS 1, 2 and 3, even if you do average score, that will fetch you around 300 average scores. Just do the smart study, 300 score, and total marks becoming 900, around 850 to 900 you can definitely aim. Now, what is happening here and why I am saying that we are combining psychology, essay and ethics? Because a large part of ethics syllabus, as has been sent to you, like the topics of attitude, topics of emotional intelligence, topics of aptitude, they belong to psychology. Apart from psychology, the ethics syllabus is constructed of two other subjects. Which are the two other subjects? One is your public administration, from where comes the civil services values citizen charter, topics like this. Then your philosophy, from which comes the thinkers and their impact on your life and values. So, public administration, quite confidently it will be covered in your classes, because I have great command over this subject. During my preparation days, I was quite good in public administration. So, I will personally see that your psychology and public administration, these two parts are covered really well. When it comes to philosophy, again we can do two things. One is that this portion can be taken by somebody who is an expert in philosophy, or if I am taking it, then again you can be confident that the portion will be covered in a holistic manner but in a precise manner. Now, as these portions have quite a good overlap with your ethics syllabus, your probability of scoring increases if you have good grounding in psychology, good grounding in the subjects, the topics which are mentioned in the syllabus, which come from public administration and philosophical thinkers. Then further, as the classes evolve, we will see the strategy how we can score well here. Then comes your essay. As essay, you can see, has become a deciding factor of late. In the recent years, if you go through the chapters, you will realize that the essay topics are quite philosophical. If you go through the marks of the toppers, you will realize that most of the people in the toppers list are those who have done well in their optional and ethics as well as essay. If you have done well in these three papers, how many marks they consist of? Your optional, that is psychology, for most of you 500 marks, 250 marks each paper. Your essay 250 marks, ethics 250 marks, total become 1000. Out of these 1000 marks, if you are able to score 550 to 600, which we can definitely aim, then you can aim to score much better than the average cutoff, which goes from 750 to 800. You are scoring almost 100 marks more than the cutoff, which will be of the mains written part. Then you don't need to rely on, you don't need to worry about the interview marks. Although we can take care of interview marks as well, but that is quite dicey and subjective. So we have to do well in our written papers, and that is quite possible. This is the generic strategy. Most aspirants, they don't know this, or even if they are told about this, they ignore this fact. So please remember, the civil services is not about your hard work alone. It is about knowing the right strategy. If you have to cut a tree, you don't keep on attacking without ensuring that your saw through which you are cutting the tree is very well framed and chiseled. Unless it is sharp, likewise, unless your preparation is in the right direction, you can see that so many aspirants are there. Have you ever analyzed how many aspirants are going to write the paper? Almost 5 to 6 lakh aspirants write prelims. From there come your 14,000 around. In prelims they pass, they will write the main examination. Through that will come 2,500 to your 3,000 people will be called for interview, and then finally around 1000, and even from these 1000, how many people are going to get IAS, IPS, IFS, the most coveted services? Those who are in the top 100, top 150, or at most top 200 ranks, depending upon the availability of the seats and the cadre allotment. There are several factors around it, but this is the rank you should aim for. Rather, aim for this top 100. Then you will be in a better position to get these services. Now, to get these services, which is the aim of most of the aspirants, they keep on doing their general studies paper 1, 2, 3, putting up lots of hard work. Rather than that, you should focus on your essay, ethics and optional. And in our case, we have psychology as optional, so it has great overlap with your ethics paper. So our half the work is done. Now we'll come to having understood this. Now we'll come to understanding of the GS paper 4, that is ethics, integrity and aptitude paper. Now it has been divided into 3 parts: ethics, integrity, aptitude. Consists of 2 aspects: theory and case study. Consists of 250 marks. Generally, the theory portion and case study portion are equally divided, that is 125 marks division, almost equal division, almost. Many a times this case study might be asked for 130 or 140 marks, many a times the theory might be asked for 130, 140 marks, but largely speaking it will be quite a balanced approach. You must have seen the paper. Most of them are 10 markers, 20 markers, most of them. Most of the case studies are of 20 marks. 10 marks for theory question. How many words? 150 words. Here you can go up to 250 words. 250, 300 words you can write. How much time you should devote? Depending upon the questions. For each 10 markers, you should not go beyond 5 minutes. Because if you see how many marks would be there, if you are asked 10 questions for this 10 markers and few question 15 markers, so roughly how much time do you have? If we divide the total time, we have 180 minutes, 3 hours. Out of that, how much we should devote for the theory and the case study? If we go for almost equal division, and some people suggest you should go for like rather than 1 hour 30 minute, 1 hour 30 minute for your case study, you can devote a little bit more time, 1 hour 45 minutes, because for the case studies the probability of getting marks is higher, a little higher time allotment for the case studies. So depending upon the number of case studies asked, you can divide your time there. Okay, we'll go deeper into that. It's just a generic idea I am giving you. Now we'll go to our syllabus. As we have seen, what's there? Ethics, integrity and aptitude. What do you mean by ethics? So ethics a set of rules or a code of conduct to decide what is right or wrong. This is a simplistic definition, and you should not worry about whatever is being dealt in the class. It will be sent to you in a PDF format. You can go through that. That material will be precise but sufficient. Again and again I am reiterating this fact that this material sent to you will be precise and sufficient. Don't run after the books. That is, we are always like, it's always there in our mind, I should buy this book, I should read this book. You understand the context, you go through the understanding, the conceptual understanding, as I have already told you in our psychology session, that concept, application. In case of psychology, it is concept, application, merit and demerit. Here in our topics, it will be concept and application. Concept is there in the theory part, and application will be asked for case studies. These two things will be happening. So, if you have understood the concept, then you have been able to apply it through your examples, illustrations in your answers, and you are writing the answer in a context in which the question has been asked, then you will get marks, and we will understand the techniques of scoring it in either in this session or in the next session, how to score well. Then we will delve deep into the theories. Today we will understand the origin, significance, and then go into the strategy. So, concept and application of each and every topic you have to understand. That's it. What have we defined ethics as? A set of rules or a code of conduct to decide what is right or wrong. How do you decide whether your actions, your behavior are right or not? Now, there are certain ways of defining right and wrong. What is right and wrong can be defined in several ways. But as a civil servant, there are three specific principles which define your actions are correct or not. What are the three ways? There are the three strategies, three ways to define or differentiate the right and wrong. One is your legal, another is your rational, and then moral. Firstly, whatever actions you take, are they legal? Are you taking actions under the provisions of two things? What? In case of civil servants, because see, the ethics paper, we will understand the context in which the ethics paper, ethics, integrity and aptitude paper was brought into the civil services syllabus, and you will realize that why it has been brought. Then your understanding of ethics will be better and your answers will also become much refined. Let's see, what are the legality? Legality of a civil servant's action is defined by constitution. Always remember, constitutional principles are important whenever you take any action. If you are the in charge of building a highway through a dense forest, and in the dense forest aborigines, denotified and nomadic tribe are staying. Now, are you constitutionally correct when you are clearing the forest? Then comes your civil services code of conduct. Code of conduct given for civil services, CS. Are you behaving under the civil services code of conduct, defined rules or not? Are your actions justified by the constitution, which will be decided by whom? The constitutionality will be decided by the courts. By the courts, court of law, they will define. Then civil services code of conduct is already there. Who will define whether you are acting according to the civil services code of conduct? Then there is CSB. Board and your hierarchy, they will define whether you are acting under the civil services code of conduct or not. So your actions, primarily you have to look at two things: the constitution and civil services code of conduct, COC. Two things. This we have understood the legal principle. There were three things. This is the legality. Legal first, then we have rational part. How do you define whether it is rational, whether your actions are rational or not? And what we are talking about here? Ethics, the ethical principles, whether you are right or not, the civil servant is right or not, is defined under three ways, three principles, three strategies: legal, rational and moral. Legal we have understood. Under legal what comes? Your constitution and civil services code of conduct. Two things precisely spoken. Then rational. How do you understand and define the rationality, whether it is rational or not? So the rational actions, whether your actions are rational or not, whether you have taken any action is rational, are defined under three aspects: E, E and E. What are these three E? Economy, efficiency and effectiveness. These are the three things which define the rationality: economy, efficiency, effectiveness. What does economy mean? Economy means you have not wasted the resources of the state. Resources of the state have not been wasted. And what does the state mean here? State means state machinery. That is, you are the civil servant under the Union of India or state's rules. State, any particular state, maybe the state of Uttar Pradesh, state of Kerala, state of Haryana, any particular state, whether you have wasted the resources of state or not, that defines the economy. Efficiency. How do you define efficiency? The time allotted for the project, whatever you are doing, whether you have finished the project on time or not. Efficiency. And the resources you have used are optimum or not. Whether you have too much of resources, of manpower, land, labor, etc. That defines the efficiency. Then comes your effectiveness. Whether your actions have been able to meet the goals enshrined under the duties of a welfare state. Like, we are a welfare state. So, suppose under the Swachh Bharat mission, thousand toilets are built in a particular area. This is just a number, mere number, but what is the output? Has the behavioral dimensions of people living there, behavior, and attitude of people regarding the cleanliness and sanitation changed or not? Are all these 1000 toilets being used on a regular basis or not? Outcome, output, that defines the effectiveness. Effectiveness is defined by the outcome and output of the program. What is the output of the program? Outcome of the program, not just merely meeting the goals on paper, but what is there on the ground realities that you have to judge. So on these three grounds, what is just your rationality? Legality, rationality. Now comes another dimension apart from legality of your actions and rationality, especially talking about the bureaucracy. Then comes your morality, moral, whether you have followed the moral principles or not. And what all can be in the moral principles? You must have heard about this, or if not heard, now I am telling you. Means and analysis. You have met the end. You have become an IAS, but have you used the way of cheating in the exam? As you might be aware about the fact that one of the IPS officers, serving IPS officers, who was writing the exam again to improve his rank, was caught cheating in the examination. He was caught cheating in the examination. How come? Because this person, just to meet the ends, did not care about the means, the ways. Whatever be the way to become an IAS officer, I will become an IAS. Here comes the role of morality, moral principles. Whether you have followed the moral principles or not. Then comes your conscience. Call of conscience. You have followed the call of conscience or not? What is the conscience? Your inner guide. Inner guide which propels you to take ethical actions. This is not scripted anywhere. This is not codified anywhere, but you take this action. If you have followed the principle of right means to meet the right end, not only your end should be right, right means right end. Right means, fair means used to reach the right end. Fair means, not unfair means. And you have served the call of conscience as an upright. As an upright officer, you have served the call of conscience, then it is okay. Then it is quite fine. These are the principles: legality, rationality and morality. These three factors define whether the action is ethical or not. This is the basic understanding of ethics. We will go deeper into each and every topic, but just to give you a feel of the topic, because unless you generate interest in this, unless you generate the basic understanding of the whole dimensions through which you have to go, you won't be able to score well. So we have largely understood what is ethics. Then comes your integrity. And you see, these all things are connected. What is integrity? As we defined ethics as a code of conduct, a set of codes which defines whether your actions are right or wrong, is called ethics. Integrity is a reliable way of following ethics. Integrity is nothing but your reliable way of following ethics. There are a set of codes and conducts, a set of standards which define your ethics, ethical standard. Whether you are following it in a reliable way or not will define your integrity. That is, what does it mean? What is the meaning of reliability? Two things. Reliability means here one, dependability. You can be depended upon if you are following the ethical principles. Like, for example, we will give the example of who? E. Sridharan and Ashok Khemka. By their conduct, the way they have conducted themselves in the public life and personal life as well. Because you see, ethics is not only about your professional life. Personal ethics are also important. When you are into public service, you have to follow probity, as it is in your syllabus also, probity, transparency in your professional life as well as personal life. So these two renowned public figure have shown integrity. How? They can be relied upon. They are dependable as far as ethical standards of conduct are concerned. One is this, they have shown this, they can be depended upon. Like drawing from the example of cricket. In cricket, we could say that Rahul Dravid was a person who can be relied upon when it comes to test cricket. Rahul Dravid is a person or was a person when he was playing cricket. Now he is retired. Now he can be depended upon. If the wickets are falling fast, if the team is thinking what to do now, send Rahul Dravid to bat. He will stay there because of patience and techniques. So dependability as far as conducting ethical standards is concerned in public and personal life, that defines your integrity. One aspect. What is the second aspect? As we have seen, there are two things. Reliability is one, dependability, then second, what is the second aspect? One is your inner personality trait. You are known for the trait of being honest, trait of being ethical. Then throughout your journey of life, in your professional life, in your personal life, you have set standards. Dependability as a personality trait, and examples, numerous examples. On a temporal dimension. Temporal means timing. On different time sets in your school, you were honest. Teachers know, principal knows. When you went to your college, the principal of the college, your colleagues, they know you are an honest person. When you go to your service, again your batchmates know, in your coaching, everywhere, that homogeneity of conduct. Your inner personality trait is such that people rely upon you. You are able to generate trust. You are able to generate trust through your conduct. Then you have set numerous examples in public and personal life through which we can say that there is reliability as well as conducting ethical standards is concerned. Suppose you must have read in history a renowned social reformer who was fighting against child marriage, and he himself got married to a very young bride. Can we say this person has integrity? A person who is fighting to remove child marriage from society is marrying, he himself marrying a very young child. Can we say this person is having integrity? The answer is no. This is the basic definition of integrity. Ethics, integrity. Now, what are the types of integrity? As we say, that as we have seen, ethics, two types of ethics, personal and professional. Personal ethics, your ethical standards in your personal life, and in your professional life, what are your ethical standards that defines ethics. Likewise, integrity has two dimensions. When we are talking about our syllabus, as far as civil services are concerned, bureaucracy is concerned, many people probably will be seeing the recordings, and some have already told that they opt for offline, so they are not here, but it's okay. Integrity, two types of integrity which you should have as a civil servant. One is your moral, then there is intellectual. Your moral integrity, your intellectual integrity. Suppose I say that the matter I have sent to you, for example, the psychology 2023 paper or ethics 2023 paper, I give you a set of solutions and I say that these are designed, written, curated by me, and later on you find that these are copied from somewhere. Will that be an intellectual integrity? No. The answer is no. So you must follow this principle of intellectual integrity. Whatever you say, have you heard this phrase? Walk the talk. Means if you prescribe something or proscribe something, if you say that you are supporting it or if you say you are hating it, you have to do it. in your conduct also you have to say, you have to behave whatever you are suggesting others. Suppose I say that you should not run after thick books, and I myself am reading 10 books. Am I having integrity? The answer is no. Walk the talk. And I am saying with utmost confidence that if I say that you should not follow a lot of material, I am also following the same principle. Suppose I start copying somebody's material. As I told you, there is a very popular approach in the market, mukku pukku approach. Because of mukku pukku approach, just in a sarcastic manner, so many students are unable to study psychology well, ethics also being taken by some part of the ethics taken by mukku pukku approach. Now you see, because of this, moral integrity is not there, intellectual integrity is not there. Suppose I start reading mukku pukku material and then giving you the filtered material, will that be helpful? No. Somebody else's material if I am giving, do I have intellectual integrity? The answer is no. Intellectual integrity. What is the meaning of moral integrity? As this phrase walk the talk defines moral integrity also. Your morals, the principles which you are prescribing in public, you are having these standards for yourself as well. The morals, the conduct, the intellectual conduct and the moral conduct. This should have integrity. It's not that for others you are saying you should be honest and you yourself are dishonest. What happened? You have heard about Lord Buddha, and now see, these stories, these anecdotes are very important when it comes to ethics paper, because you have to cite the principles, learnings, stories of these great people. Gandhian principles of Lord Buddha, or whosoever you follow, because the ethics paper will require you to use your uniqueness. That is, it is quite possible that your ideals are your parents, and if you are following suppose if you are following your parents and you admire their honesty, everybody generally they always admire their parents one or the other habit. They should be, you should always be obliged and you should always be humble enough to say that yes, parents did give you a lot in the life. So suppose you are impressed by the honesty of your father, you can write this in the examination, because this, and then give the example how you are saying he is honest. Just saying that he is honest will not work. For example, I will give you this one example. Vishwesvaraya, have you heard the name of Vishwesvaraya? He was an engineer who built lot many dams and all for our country when we were very poor. Vishwesvaraya was given a lamp which he was using for official purposes. When his official hours were over, 6 p.m. afterwards, he was not using this lamp. He used personal lamp, not using the resources given by the government of India for his personal work, because office hours are over. This is an example you can put up as far as honesty is concerned. Or if you have any example from your own life, that, my dear friends, will fetch you marks. Now we come to our Lord Buddha story. A lady approached Lord Buddha saying that her daughter, a toddler, quite a small girl, was eating lots of sugar, sweet, and she was very frustrated with this, that she was eating lots of sugar, lots of sweet, her teeth will get decayed. Lord Buddha said, come after 2 months. The lady was surprised that why Lord Buddha is not giving me solution for this small problem, whereas he is giving solution for very complex and tough issues of life. He should have solved my problem, but anyway, she went home and came back after 2 months. Now Lord Buddha said, show me the child. Buddha told this child, dear, don't eat so much of sugar. Just one sentence. The lady was surprised. What is happening here? If he had to say this one sentence, why didn't he say this 2 months before, 2 months ago? She asked Buddha, what is the problem? Why did you waste 2 months of mine? Buddha said, listen, earlier when you approached me, even I was eating lots of sweet, lots of sugar. I started avoiding it, then only I can prescribe this to the child. What is happening here? What are we talking about? Integrity. Integrity. This is integrity. What you are prescribing, you are walking the talk. Not talking the talk, but walking the talk. Most people just talk. They don't walk the path. Many people will say enormously fantastic things when it comes to putting up on their status, but when you see their life, the personal life and professional life, you will realize that they are quite opposite to what they are sermonizing. They are sermonizing something which they are not. This is not integrity. This is integrity with examples. Now we will come to aptitude. Because see, your syllabus, your rather paper 4 says ethics, integrity and aptitude. And why I am explaining all these topics will be revealed to you in quite some time. Because most people say that okay, this is ethics paper. This is not ethics paper. This is ethics, integrity and aptitude paper. And that's why you have not been able to score the paper, because you have not been able to understand the nature of the paper. The nature of the paper is defined not only by ethics but integrity and aptitude. The examiner is seeing your aptitude also, your integrity also, the ethical standards also. Now we will come to aptitude. What is aptitude? Simply defined, aptitude is natural skill to learn new things. New things or new skills. Now I must warn you that when you are defining aptitude or integrity or ethics, don't use the knowledge of psychology or philosophy in defining the papers of the GS or topics of the GS, which is being done by many people. Many teachers who are psychology optional teachers in the market, they are teaching ethics, but in the ethics they are teaching psychology only. And because of this, the marks of the students suffer, but they don't care. So you see, if I was teaching you psychology, if I were to teach you psychology, the definition would have been different. I would have connected with the G theories, the content theories of intelligence. I would have connected with the ability to learn new skills in a different manner. But here I am just saying natural skill to learn new things. As simple as that. Simplify things. The genius lies in simplifying things, not making things complex, which is being done in the market, unfortunately, because of the lack of integrity again. Nobody has any integrity, running after money. That's the problem. And when we see why this paper was brought in our next few minutes, then you will realize how this approach is actually creating problems in the life of the aspirants. Aptitude. Now, what kind of aptitude are you supposed to follow or have? Civil servants must be having, civil servants, bureaucrats or IAS officers must be having what kind of aptitude? One aptitude which is very important is your managerial. This aptitude of managing things. And how to manage? There are many principles, but there are certain standard ways. You must be able to have command, control, plan, organize, you must have the ability to plan the whole task, organize the whole task in the steps. Then once the resources are allocated, then you must be able to command and control. These abilities as a manager, POCC. This comes under POCC, plan, organize, control and command. These abilities, these managerial skills you must have. General managerial abilities. What to add in this apart from POCC? What all you should have? Then again comes our holy book of Constitution. Constitutional aptitude. The aptitude to interpret the constitutional principles, as well as you can add legal constitutional principles in such a manner that it leads to what? What is the duty of the civil servants? Public interest, serving the public interest. This is the foremost duty of a civil servant. You must be able to interpret the constitution and the legal framework around you in such a manner that it serves the public interest. It has been told by ARC, Administrative Reforms Commission 2. Administrative Reforms Commission, whose report we will also see in the class today. Okay, so your ability to serve the public interest in a manner, how? Plan, organize, command, control your duties. So this defines the aptitude you should have. The ethics defined, personal, professional. Integrity defined, moral and intellectual. Aptitude defines managerial as well as constitutional aptitude. If you have, then ethics, integrity, aptitude. These are the three dimensions under which the whole syllabus of GS paper 4, that is ethics, integrity, aptitude, will fall. Now we will understand that why this ethics paper, that is ethics integrity paper, was brought into the syllabus of civil services. There are two things you must understand. You must have heard the name of Weber, Max Weber. If you have not, I am telling you. This is one person, Max Weber, Max Weber. Max Weber was a sociologist who gave the term of bureaucracy. What he gave? Bureaucracy. And how do you understand? What do you understand by bureaucracy? Bureaucracy was not the same as it is used nowadays. Bureaucracy was a different term. Bureaucracy was a different concept when it originated. In pre-industrial era, the society was not having so much of activities. So, the business activities was low. Politics was also contained to its own domain within the bounds of governance they were doing. There was no need of any other interface. Political masters doing their own work and business people doing their own work, that also of low volume. Society was just being maintained. Society was running in its own manner according to the set principles and conduct given by religion and mythology. Earlier, when pre-industrial era, when industrial revolution happened, after industrial revolution, what happened? There was need of a structure which, that is bureaucracy, this is bureaucracy. Structure which can, bureaucracy which can, and you should focus on understanding. Don't worry about the notes, it will be provided. Very chiseled, refined, precise but apt to score well. So bureaucracy was required. Why? To ensure that business are run in the right manner. And when I told you right manner, what does it mean? E cube. E cube means E3, economy, efficiency, effectiveness. Economically, efficiently, effectively manner the business should run. The politics and the society, business, politics and society, they are all not only maintained, but there is growth. To ensure this growth, there was need of a structure, and this structure was brought under the concepts of Max Weber, who called it bureaucracy. And what was bureaucracy supposed to do, and how the influence of bureaucracy or the structure of bureaucracy was defined? Bureaucracy was defined under two aspects: legal framework, rational framework. Legal and rational. If your conduct is legal, if your conduct is rational, you as a bureaucrat are doing wonderful job. Now, we'll take our example of what? Of making a highway through a dense forest. Dense forest, aboriginal tribe, a tribe whose cultural heritage is quite long, whose language is actually dying now, whose presence is important to ensure that the backbone of India's civilization is not disturbed, is residing here. Now, as a bureaucrat, when you are made the in charge of seeing that the highway is built through this dense forest, if you are following the legal principle, that is, if you are following the constitution, and constitution does not stop you, because, my dear friends, the principles followed by the Max Weber's bureaucracy were based on what? Principle of greater good. Have you heard this? The principle of greater good. What is the principle of greater good? बड़े अच्छे लगते हैं? No. Greater good principle means that how many people are getting benefited. If a highway is built, the business activities will grow, prosperity of nation will increase, national income will increase, the resources. Have you heard of the forward linkage, backward linkage? Industries around may also prosper. So the whole nation is prospering because of this one highway. People may get employment also during building of the infrastructure and after the infrastructure is built. Commercial activities will grow, the traffic will grow, urbanization will grow. So what is happening? Rationally you are correct if you are taking this decision, because you are taking the decision based on what? Greater good. ज़्यादा लोगों का भला हो रहा है इसलिए हमने ये काम किया. We have done this work because it is helping larger number of people. Rationality involved. Okay, legality, constitution allows you to do your duty under article 312. You must be knowing. All India services, article 312. UPSC appointed you, article 315. Constitutional body appointed you. You have lots of powers and authority. Authority is legal rational power which you have. You don't have just power of Khap Panchayat, you have the power of the state. State is backing you. That is why the officers of the state, that is the government of India, they are not touched by even the criminal elements, because they don't want to hurt you, because the whole state machinery will be against them. Okay, so you are doing your work legally, my dear friends, rationally. Legally, rationally, you are okay. Nobody can say that you have not done your duty. This is the conceptualization of Max Weber. But let's see our case again deeply on the principles of moral conduct, moral, ethical conduct. When you listen to the call of conscience, is it advisable to displace these tribes? Is it not a good idea that rather than rehabilitating them to a different place, the highway is built in such a manner that it goes around the forest? This can also be a way. Which principle have been used here? If we are listening to this call of conscience, you being the authority to decide whether the highway will be built through the forest or across the forest. In this, what is happening? More resources being used. That is, economically you are not doing the right thing. Economically incorrect. It's not efficient. But still, you are following this. What are you listening to? Your moral principles. We have already understood ways and means and analysis. Just to ensure that your end is met, you are not following the right means and analysis. You are not following the right means. But according to the Weberian concept, Max Weber's concept, the bureaucracy which was there as it originated under the conceptualization of legal rational authority, everything was fine. But with the germination, with the conceptualization of what? The moral principles, the ethical conduct, and the concept of sustainable development. Focus on sustainable development, one thing. Secondly, the code of conduct from the point of view of what? Ethicality and call of conscience. It became imperative that the bureaucracy not only follows the legal rational principles but moral principles also. Morals were added along with the legal rational. That is why it was important for bureaucrats to follow the moral principles as well, and that is why the use of ethical standards. Now I will give you another factor. You see, in developed world, probably the bureaucrats can afford to let go of what? The moral principles. They can primarily focus upon the legal aspects, the rational aspects. But in a developing country where the resources are divided in a manner that the divide between haves and have-nots is so big, the divide is so big, there is a resource crunch also. People are not that literate. The literacy of people is very less. Still that colonial hangover is there, my baap culture. That is, in the British era, the population of this country was quite dependent upon British officers, British civil servants. In large part of the country, still in rural areas, people are dependent upon the government officers. The literacy is low. The awareness and empowerment is so low, people don't feel empowered. There is a section of marginalized people, as I told about the tribes. In these set of circumstances, is it advisable to follow only legal principles and rational principles, but to bring the morality and ethicality of the conduct or not? Yes, you must bring. This is the reason, my dear friends, these ethical principles became important due to the fact that sustainable development has now become a very important factor whenever we are taking any decision, along with the fact that the country in which we are living is a developing country. We must ensure the decision of bureaucrats is based on not only legal rational principle but moral principles. That is why we are studying this ethics and integrity aptitude along with that, EIA. So, Weberian concept of bureaucracy is no more applicable. We have to ensure that the public service is primarily focused upon public interest and they follow this code of conduct as well. And we will see the ARC2 in its report, we will see the report in detail, which is ethics in governance. Says that the primary duty of every public service officer is to ensure that there is public interest which is served, public interest is served, and the public service code along with the conflict of interest public service code and conflict of interest clause should be codified. And what is the meaning of codified? Codified means it is clearly defined. Not only this, the public servants are made responsible and accountable for their conduct. You must be thinking they are already? No, I will show you how. What happens here in our bureaucracy, there is a concept called anonymity. Suppose a program Beti Bachao Beti Padhao is announced by the minister, by the government of India. This is the program. Announced by the government of India. Minister announced it, inaugurated it in a district under huge uproar. People gathered there, they clapped a lot. Minister has announced it. Now, during the conduct of this program, when it was being operationalized, the district magistrate was overseeing the operation. He or she did a huge corruption of crores of rupees, and because of this, the program was not conducted honestly. Now, who is responsible here? The responsibility lies with the minister. Accountability lies with the minister. These civil servants are working under the curtain, behind the curtain. They are hidden. Nobody knows them, nobody makes them accountable. Their accountability is zero. Apart from the fact that minister will always pull him, suspend him or her. But public does not know. Public thinks that it is the fault of the minister. They will be penalized in the next 5 years when elections will be conducted. So ARC2 says in its report that suppose Manipur was burning, riots happened. Two Kuki Methi, two groups were fighting. Did anybody think of making the chief secretary of the state responsible and accountable for what happened there? Shameless approach of the government? No, because the responsibility and accountability falls upon the government of the Manipur, not of the civil servants. ARC2 says that they should be made accountable whenever riots happened in a district. The district magistrate should be made accountable, not only transferred, not even district magistrate and SP of the district in which riots take place or this kind of violence takes place. They are not even suspended, not even transferred. In most of the cases they are transferred but not suspended immediately. When there is extreme pressure of media, social groups and the opposition party, they might be transferred or few of them might be suspended, but accountability does not lie on them. ARC2 says that ethical standards should be followed and accountability and responsibility of the government officers should be codified. so that they can be not only suspended but dismissed from the service whenever such things take place. So, great departure from what happened earlier under the legal rational authority of bureaucracy. Now the moral standards, ethical standards also need to be followed. We have already discussed the context. That is why we are reading this ethics integrity aptitude paper, because ethics has become the most important factor, especially in this vexed environment. Another second factor, growing incidents of corruption, because corruption cases increase so much. What has happened with corruption? If we just have to explain by following our understanding of psychology, systematic desensitization. Systematic desensitization. Corruption has become so rampant, so easily found, and corruption is being made to look like it's a natural phenomena happening just like any other natural phenomenon. So people have become completely desensitized. If somebody is asking for 10% commission to pass a project, okay, not asking for 15, only 10, de do. Nowadays, every now and then you will see in newspaper, corruption here, corruption this district, corruption Jharkhand, corruption Bihar, corruption UP, corruption Haryana, corruption Kerala, corruption Tamil Nadu, so much of corruption. People don't worry about corruption. People don't see that anything new has happened. They have taken these things for granted. Because of the growing incidents of corruption, it was thought that it is mandatory that ethical principles are imbibed in the civil servants. You see, I gave you the example of a serving IPS officer who was sitting for the exam to improve his rank, was caught red-handed cheating in the exam, and this guy had got lots of marks, very high marks in ethics. This person got a very high score in ethics paper 4 and he was caught cheating. Later on he would have done bribe, he would have been caught in one of the other bribery cases as well. But anyway, the LBS, Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration, which is in Mussoorie, where IAS officers primarily and other officers are only for foundation course trained. They gave a report, the kind of officers who are coming to our academy, their ethical moral standards and their conduct in the public is becoming a matter of worry. More than 90% drunk during the classes also. Just after the classes finish, they are drunk. These incidents had made it necessary to bring a paper, to bring the education during the preparation phase itself, so that the ethical standards are imbibed in their, if not DNA, if not blood, at least in their day-to-day conduct. for the time being to ensure better transparency in the conduct of the Government of India. In this context only, it is important that we note down certain aspects of ethical standards, mandatory set of ethical standards given by a committee known as Nolan Committee, British Nolan Committee. Nolan Committee in its report gave 7 principles of ethical conduct which is required for an upright civil servant. And what are they? We can just summarize that under this mnemonic: Aish, L-O-O, A-I-S-H, Ash, Aishwarya Rai, L-O-O, Loo. Just to remember it, ash in the loo. There is no harm in memorizing your concepts in any of these ways. Do whatever you have to memorize. And how does it expand? We will see. These are the 7 principles given by British Nolan Committee. What have we understood till now? That why this ethics paper came, why not only the paper came, why the ethics was made important, ethics, integrity, aptitude was made important for civil servants. Earlier, the concept of Weberian bureaucracy was based on legal and rational principles, but now morality was included to ensure that in developing countries, especially when the conduct was to be in the interest of the public interest becoming the most primary thing, it was important that civil servants take decisions not only based on legal and rational principles but moral principles also. So, for that you have to ensure ethical standards. Then, as the incidents of corruption kept on increasing, the means were made unfair and ends were justified. It became necessary that civil servants are sensitized even in their preparation phase, during their training phase and afterwards. So, in this context only, it is important for us to understand that there are certain principles which are universal as far as ethical standards required for an upright public officer is concerned. What are they? A, I, S, H. A is accountability. I is integrity. S is selflessness. Selflessness. H is honesty. Accountability. Civil servants must take accountability of their actions, and state, that is the Government of India or any state government, should also ensure that they are made accountable for their conduct under the Civil Service Code of Conduct, as we have already seen, and the codified public service conduct to be brought under the Public Service Delivery Bill. They should be made accountable. Then integrity, we have already talked about. They should have personal, that is intellectual, moral integrity. They should have that walk the talk approach. They should maintain integrity, impartiality in their public as well as personal life. What they are saying, what they are doing is something what they are prescribing. There is no rift between what they are prescribing and what they are conducting. Then Selflessness. Again, the prime importance was given to what? Public interest. Public interest should be the cornerstone of every civil servant's life. If not the duty, but the whole life in fact. If you are driven by this purpose, public interest, as APJ and Gandhiji both have summarized, and you see, my dear friends, this is very important. These examples will be useful in your paper. Kalam used to say that you should devote yourself in the service of people. Gandhiji used to say the same thing, that if you are driven by the public service purpose, and it can work for you as well, whatever be the environment, whatsoever you see around happening around, if you devote yourself for the service of people, especially in a country which is going through so much of problems, unemployment, poverty, so much of caste religion rift, polarization, illiteracy, very less opportunity of growth, still living in the dark era under the colonial hangover. If you follow the public service delivery approach, public interest approach, devote your life towards this, you are going to win the race of life way ahead of people who are living a very small, measly, meager life. Public service. Accountability, integrity, selflessness and honesty. Honesty, you know, probity, you call it honesty or probity. Probity, that is, you should follow the principle of transparency. Whatever your conduct is in office or in your personal life, it should be transparent, available for people. Probity, transparency, honesty. You are honest, imandar. And what is the environment around? Mera Bharat Mahan, 199 Baiman. That approach is there, quite frankly speaking, and it is the truth. Honesty is rarely found. So public servants, they have to set a standard not only for their conduct in their office, but as a leader of the society, as we will see the other three qualities of an upright civil servants, the three qualities. There is leadership. They have to be leader of the society, and to ensure that you give the leadership, you have to be honest. Because that is the way you are separating yourself from others. I'll give you an example. A civil servant in one of the backward districts of Bihar saw that the people in the district are sending their children into government school. Civil servant, she could definitely afford her children to send her children to one of the prime schools of Delhi, or even if some people have the resources, they can send their children to abroad as well. But she chose to send her children to this government school, and that because of this, the government school became much better than what it was earlier. Why? They knew that district magistrate's daughter is coming to study here. We have to ensure that toilets are clean. We have to ensure that teachers reach to the class at the right time. Otherwise, there may be report. So, because of this one step, you see the whole district's literacy rate, the whole district's awareness for education, the girl child education, empowerment of girl child, every indicator improved. This is the uprightness and honesty, integrity of an officer, which is required for this country to improve. 4 principles, my dear friends. 7 principles we had said, 3 more. Ash is already there we have to bring the Lu. Lu. What is Lu? L is leadership. Civil servants must be leaders. And when we say leader, not a leader of political connotation. Many civil servants have become leaders also. They left the job, joined politics, they got defeated. Because the leadership which is required as far as civil servants are concerned are different from what the leadership is there in political parties. We are talking about leadership where they can give the direction to the society, direction to the youth, direction to their own subordinates. As we have already told, plan, organize, control, command for their own organization. That leadership. Then O for what? Objectivity. Their decisions should be based on objective conduct. They should not be emotionally driven. Whenever they are taking any decision, that is, they weigh upon all the options available. That is why you will see in your case studies, they are asking you what ways out you have. Who are the stakeholders? What are the ways you have to come out of this problem? Then you weigh upon all these. Finally decide based on the objective criteria. Then your openness. What kind of openness? Not openly roaming around carrying gun in the market. That openness is not required. Openness means you should be able to consult with the stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders here? The public. Your political masters. And other experts in an open manner, objective manner. Consultation should be done. Once you have consulted in an open manner, you will be able to take a good judgment of it. For example, suppose you are asked to build houses. I'll give you an example. What happened few years ago in Chhattisgarh, a backward state, and in this backward state, a further backward district where tribal population was quite high. Now, government made a survey and saw that most of these tribal people, they don't have resources to ensure that they have 2 square meals. They were so poor that they were not able to have these 2 square meals. Government thought that why not give them some employment? So they distributed buffaloes to each and every family. So they thought that by milching they will be able to get milk, they will sell milk, or they may make some milk product also, sweet and all, desserts, and they can sell in the market. After 6 months, when they went to the district, they saw that none of the buffaloes were there. No buffalo. All of them were consumed by these tribes because they did not understand the culture and aspiration of this tribe before formulating this policy. What is that called? Armchair approach. In the armchair approach, what you are doing is you are formulating policies but not having the ground reality. This, my dear friend, is happening in the preparation of the civil services arena also, unfortunately, in the market, where there are big names but they are running after only one entity, one thing, everybody. money, money, money. They are not bothered about the fact that aspirants are putting their life at stake. I have been into their shoes. I know that when one person is preparing, the whole family is preparing. Whether you belong to an affluent family, a middle class family, lower middle class, or whatsoever, it doesn't matter. The whole family is going through that rigorous exercise when you are preparing. And it is quite sad to see the approach of people who don't know the ground reality. They are teaching the subject, but they don't know the kind of questions which are being asked. Whether we talk about psychology or ethics, essay, the same approach. They are not teaching what is being asked. It is quite possible to give each and every aspirant the material which they can consume and finally produce in the examination and get 60% marks. But for that, hard work is required, which they are not doing. Armchair approach. Because of this, the policies fail. Likewise, see, if 2000 students are going to attend a coaching, 1 or 2 will definitely pass. What is the pass percentage? I assure that 100% of our coaching will get through. Many of them will get good rank. That is the problem. Buffalo approach. They did not know that what is required, what is the openness was not there. If they had consulted the people, the tribe who were living there, they would have realized that there in their culture they don't milch the cows and buffaloes, they eat them. Straight away eat it, don't milch. Give you another example of openness, why openness is required. And as a civil servant, you must be open to understand the viewpoint of others, which is lacking in society nowadays. People are so polarized that they don't listen to anybody else's point of view. What are they listening to? Their own version of everything. Some people saying that India got independence in not in 1947 but in 2014. So many other things are being played in the media. Openness is lacking. So you see another example why openness is important. As you say, AISH LOO, out of 2 O 1 O is openness. What happened in Jharkhand? Again backward state. Unfortunately, lots of minerals, lots of coal, lots of iron. I am a mining engineer, I know the kind of wealth that is hidden below the earth of Jharkhand. But unfortunately, poor state, very poor state actually. Let me tell you, very poor. But what happened there? A district magistrate, along with his team, tried to rehabilitate a group of tribe into new homes. They built 1 BHK, 1 BHK for them, built the house in a really good fashion. After 1 year, when they went there, none of them was entering the house. Why? Because the door of the house built was like any other normal door, but these tribes built the doors half of their height, so that they, while entering from the door, front door, they always bow down, because they think that their God lives in the on the door itself, so they cannot cross the door without bowing down. And if they do so, they feel as if they have offended the God. So all the houses wasting of resources, because openness was not there. That is why these principles are important, and all of these are connected. And if you see the root of all these principles, there is only one principle, one thing which defines everything, is public interest. If somebody is working for public interest, they will have all this. A accountability, integrity, selflessness, honesty, leadership, openness, objectivity. All this will be there if they work for public interest. How? Well, what will be accountability for public interest? They will be accountable for public integrity. Integrity in their conduct. What they say, what they prescribe, they do. How it will help people? Public interest. If they have integrity, better integrity will ensure more public interest. Example, E. Sridharan. Example, Vishwesvaraya. Not wasting the resources of the government. The lamp which was used for the official purpose was not used beyond 6 p.m. because after that the office hours ended. Public interest, selflessness. Of course, if you are working for public, you will be selfless. Honesty, transparent behavior, honest. Public interest, leadership, showing for whom? Leadership for whom? To ensure that the welfare of public is done. Openness and objectivity, to ensure that political decisions are not taken. A decision which is laden by political values, by a particular set of values, to ensure that particular set of political masters or businessmen get benefit, is not taken. Openness, consultation with all the stakeholders and important experts will ensure that public interest is served. Out of public interest emanates all these principles. If you remember public interest, you remember all this. This was the British Nolan Committee's recommendation, and if you remember this, you can use all these principles whenever asked a question about civil service conduct, the ethical standards which you should follow in the theoretical question as well as in the case study. You will have the tools, these are the tools, use them judiciously, and we will see how to use. As I said, there will be precise material, but you will be way ahead of each and every one. You will be way ahead of people who are mugging up facts from 8-10 books which are bulky. We will move to another important topic. The Administrative Reforms Commission, ARC. What is this? As you know, administration also needs to be reformed. As administration evolved after 1947, government realized, different governments at different point of time realized that there has to be a commission which can give us a set of standards under which the whole administrative setup can be reformed. There came ARC 1, Administrative Reforms Commission 1, and then came the ARC 2. We will not read all these ARC 1 and 2 because most of the recommendations of ARC 1 also got repeated into ARC 2, and these reports are very bulky. It is said that after ARC 1 finished its work and they were asked by the Ministry of Public Grievances, DOPT, Department of Personnel and Training, to send the report. The chairperson sent the report, but you know what was the volume of the report? The whole truck, the whole lorry, the big truck with the report went to minister's house. He was surprised. He called the chairman of the ARC. What is this? He said, sir, this is the report. No, he said, see, this report, if we read this report, it will take another 15 years to read the whole report. Give me the summary. So, we will also do the same thing. We will also take the summary, that too of the ARC 2, Administrative Reforms Commission 2, whose one of the chapter is, name of the report is Ethics in Governance. Under that also, see, ethics in governance gives principles of ethics or conduct of ethics for all the organs of the state legislature, that is how should ministers and MPs behave, executive and judiciary. We are primarily concerned about the executive, and under that also we are concerned about the ethical standards followed by the civil servant, because this exam is largely focused and this paper will be focusing upon the ethical standards you are following, ethical standards you have idea about and what you follow in your daily life and what you will write your answer about. So the ethical standards or the recommendations given by the ARC2 under its report Ethics in Governance, which reads the Code of Ethics. Code of Ethics for civil servants. What should be the Code of Ethics? Now, when I am giving you these things, these reports, and whenever will read all the chapters, I must tell you one thing which I see lacking in most of the aspirants, and because of that they work hard, still they are not able to score well. You must focus on understanding these, not just mugging up. Understand it. If you don't understand, I am here. You can ask me any doubt anytime. During the class, after the class, mail me, WhatsApp me, do whatever. I will explain each and everything to you in simple words, not making things complex as done in Mukku Pukku approach. So, Code of Ethics given by ARC2, Administrative Reforms 2, Administrative Reforms Commission. Second, under its reports of ethics in governance. Code of ethics for whom? Civil servants. What should be the Code of Ethics? First and foremost, let's understand the basic structure, what it says. Few things I have already given you, that one is your public service values. Public service values. And second is what? Conflict of interest. These two things should be codified, defined, objectively defined and made a code of, that is public service values. Which values you should carry in your public conduct. They should be objectively, clearly defined and codified. Like number 1, as we said, AISHLOO, this is generic principle. Under that also specifically mentioning rights happened, accountability of DM. Rights happened, accountability of DM, accountability of SP, clearly defined. Somebody caught taking bribe red-handed, bribery case, no proof required, person caught, simply dismissed or suspended. These kind of strong codification of public service values should be there. This is the recommendation of the ARC2. One was this, second was what? Conflict of interest. Now what happens? Conflict of interest is not defined clearly. For example, it's not only that we are talking about the public service, that is the bureaucracy. Even for suppose, have you heard this name? Chanda Kochar. She was MD of ICICI group of bank. She ensured that the bank ICICI gives loan to her brother-in-law was given loan to do a business where the default happened. You know default? People take loan, they don't pay back, that is default. Huge amount of default happened. Is it an integral way of conduct? No. Why it happened? Because conflict of interest is not clearly defined. Likewise, in public service also, suppose there is an IAS officer whose wife is running an NGO, or there is an IAS officer whose husband is running a business, or an NGO, or a school, and the spouse, either the husband or the wife, helps the other person to collect lots of resources by using unfair means, by using their public service. Or for example, let me tell you, there are some civil servants who come to coaching institutions. Even I was approached by one of the ex-DGPs of Bihar. He was ready, now even he is doing the work, even he was ready to come to our platform, but he did not want to show his face, that he will work anonymously. Now what is happening at the conflict of interest? You are devoting your resources, your time, energy and money for the purpose which you are not prescribed to, because you are a servant of the government of India. You should work for the public interest, clearly said by ARC2, that the primary duty of every civil servant should be to serve the public interest, not anything else. This was the thing. So the conflict of interest is not clearly defined and served under the codification of ethics. That should be done. Okay, so two things, the conflict of interest and public service values. Public service values and conflict of interest, these two things should be clearly defined and codified, so that if something happens where there is clear case of conflict of interest, the public servant can be caught and the due action can be taken by the state government machinery. This is the crux of all the recommendations given by the ARC2 under Code of Ethics report. What are the specific recommendations? The specific recommendation number 1 is allegiance to the Constitution, that every public servant, every civil servant should show allegiance, show devotion towards what? The Constitution. They should be driven by what? Constitutional principles. The principles, the core crux of the constitutional values. Like the Constitution says in our preamble, we are a socialist country, sovereign, socialist, democratic republic, equality, fraternity should be ensured. All we have read in the polity. Preamble you must know, because many of the questions, even in your GS paper 2, you will be able to address because of your knowledge of preamble. And fundamental rights, of course. Fundamental rights and preamble, if you know, if you by heart in fact, then it will be very easy for you to do many of the questions which are conceptual in nature. So public servant should also be driven by these things. Suppose a public servant on his or her media platform, Twitter or Facebook or in fact Instagram, any channel which is his or her personal channel, says anything which is antagonistic to these constitutional values, do you think it is moral? Do you think it comes under the integral values of the civil servant? Legally speaking, he or she is on the right path, but morally, constitutionally, is it correct? The answer is no. You have to show integrity in personal and public both life. Your personal views cannot contaminate and terminate the constitutional values which become the duty of your life. You can express your views once you have resigned from the office. You have shown allegiance to the government, to the constitution. So first is your allegiance to the constitution. Then, as we have already seen, three principles must be maintained by each and every civil servant: objectivity, neutrality, and we have already discussed anonymity. Objectivity, your decision should be based on objective criterion, not driven by some emotional aspects or some irrational things. You need to weigh upon all the way outs, all the solutions, then only take a final decision based on objective analysis of each and every decision. What will be the consequences, repercussions? Am I following the right principle or not? Will the public interest be served or not? Then only you should decide. Objectivity in your decision. Neutrality. What is neutrality? Not driven by any political compulsions, not driven by your own personal aggrandizement. Personal aggrandizement, that is, you are saying that okay, I will be promoted if I pass the project of this particular MLA who is doing some criminal activities, but I will pass the project, and personal aggrandizement, that is, my promotion will be okay. If you are taking this decision, what you are doing? You are not following the principle of neutrality. You are not being neutral. If you express any views supporting the political party which is there in the regime, whose government is there, or supporting the opposition, in both ways you are not following the principle of neutrality and anonymity also. You are supposed to do your work behind the curtain. You have to work without even thinking of any pat on the back for your work. Moon mission, scientists worked really hard, but none of them came forward to the camera to show that yes, it was my mission, I did it. Civil servants are supposed to remain behind the curtain, anonymous. Objectivity, neutrality, anonymity. These three principles have to be followed by the civil servants. One is your allegiance to the constitution, second is objectivity, neutrality, anonymity. What is the third recommendation by the ARC under the code of ethics given for civil servants? And you need not mug up all these things. I am telling you, these are just giving you the broad guidelines, like British Northern Committee's Ash Loop or the code of ethics given by ARC2. No straightforward question will ever be asked in the ethics paper, I must tell you. You have to understand the context, get the gist of it, then frame your answers according to the context of the question. Third principle, GG. Who is GG? As in some parts of the country, Didi is called GG. No Didi GG approach here. GG is good governance. Good governance, my dear friend, good governance. Good governance, what is good governance? Since there is good governance, it simply means that there is something called bad governance. So governance not following the principles of ethicality is bad governance. What is good governance? And first of all, what is governance? When government is your, what is government? Government is made up of three things: legislature, executive, and judiciary. This is the structure, and there are two more things, P and B. What are these two things, P and B? Structure is government, two more things are there. One is your process and behavior. When you add process and behavior to the structure of the government, that is called governance. Governance is structure of the government, along with that the process of the government and the behavior of the government. Governance. The outcome of the government is governance. And good governance is, what is good governance? Again, I am giving you the fodder for your answer. Smart governance. Smart governance. What is smart? Simple, moral, accountable, rational, and transparent. Simple, moral, accountable, rational, transparent. Smart governance is GG, good governance approach. GG approach, as most civil servants say, minister says do this, GG. Do this, GG. Yes sir approach, GG approach. So good governance approach, sarcastically speaking. So this is the good governance. That standard should be followed by whom? The civil servants. Under the codification of ethics, this point was your third point. Now, what is the fourth point? As we have already dealt with it, EQ. EQ means E3. What is E3? Economy, efficiency, effectiveness. Your decisions should be economic. That is, don't waste the resources of the state. Efficient, again, complete your projects on time. Effective, it should be output outcome based, which we have already seen. This should also be the principle of your civil servants code of ethics. Then civil servants must follow the fifth principle, my dear friends, C3, as there was E3, C3. What is C3? Communication, consultation, and cooperation. These three things should be followed by civil servants. That is, and where these principles are to be followed? With their subordinates, with their organization. With the subordinates, with the organization. Communicate openly, transparently with each and everyone, as is being done under what? RTI. RTI says right to information under the garb of e-governance. E-governance. What is e-governance? E-governance, when e-governance was brought, it is also one of the part of GG, good governance, e-governance, because of under the transparency, smart T transparency, under T this e-governance comes. E-governance said that, under which the RTI came, that public officers should voluntarily on their own declare as much information as is possible without compromising on the standards of national security. National security they should not compromise. Other than that, they can and they should and they must reveal as much information as should be there in the public domain, in the public interest. पब्लिक डोमेन, पब्लिक इंटरेस्ट, जनता का पैसा, जनता का काम जनता को सुपुर्द किया, फॉर द पीपल, ऑफ द पीपल, बाय द पीपल, that is democracy. In the democracy, it is important to ensure that transparency in the public offices conduct is maintained. Through this principle only e-governance was born, RTA was brought, Arvind Kejriwal being one of the most important proponents of this RTA movement. Communication, consultation with whom, as I told you, consultation with whom, as it is under the public interest, consultation should be done with whom? The stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders here? People, experts. Cooperation should be sought. Consultation, cooperation, consultation with the stakeholders, consultation with the each and every organ of the department, and cooperation should be sought with the subordinates. Cooperation. This is here IAS, so many subordinates, branches, 38, 39 departments, he is the head. Cooperate, find consultation, communication with each and everyone. How? Now you are saying very less time, I don't know how to read ethics also, to study current affairs also. How will you manage these 38 committees when you reach there? So make it a habit. Bring objectivity in your daily conduct. In your day-to-day life, if you bring objectivity, think rationally about each and every aspect, then you will be a better decision maker or not? The answer is yes, of course. So, communicate openly, consult with all the stakeholders, and cooperate with each and every organ of the department to ensure that you become successful and the public interest is served. So these are the codification of ethics suggested by ARC2 in its report of ethics in governance. This, along with the fact that why that paper of ethics was born and how we have to approach this so that we score well, and what are we aiming, as I already suggested you, we are aiming, see, in your optional 300, in your ethics paper 140 and your essay paper 160. More than 75% of your work done here only. If you do the smart study, it is quite possible, very easy to score this, as compared to day in day out studying only one thing, that is GS paper 1, paper 2, paper 3. So now in the next session, what we will do, in the next session we will first of all see our strategy, how to ensure that techniques. In the next session, in the second class, we have seen the origin and significance of this ethics, integrity and aptitude. The study material will be provided to you. As we go through the sessions, then short tests will be held, your script will be evaluated, tips will be given to improve the marks. In the second class, what we will do is learn the strategy first and foremost. The strategy, under which will come two aspects, theory, strategy. and case study strategy. We'll see the time management also. Today only brief idea I gave you. How to ensure that your flow charts and diagrams are inculcated in the answer, and you appear through your papers much superior than your competitors. I will give you the example from 2023 paper, show you how if you write the answer like this, the way I suggest, you will score well. In the case study, what approach to be followed, because everybody is prescribing their own way, but nobody has been able to crack the code. What is the code to score well throughout? How your unique abilities, your unique traits should be reflected in the paper, so that examiner says that okay, this person is way more different from the lot, and he or she should be given marks. As I can see that many of you did not join, and you will be seeing the recorded version or maybe later on offline classes. But I suggest you that you should join the session, although recorded version will also give you the same feel, same material. No need to worry, because everybody has their own compulsions. So how your unique traits, how your unique abilities to write the answer, apart from the fact that one most important thing which is missed by people, vocabulary development and writing the, see, there are two things. One is called simple, another one is called simpleton. Simpleton is foolishness, simple is pure, pristine. This simple can be effective. You have not to be simpleton, but you can be effective. Remaining simple, you can be effective. You see the examples, Gandhiji said that there is enough for the need, but not enough for the greed. There are enough resources for the need of each and everyone on this earth, but not enough for the greed of even a single person. This sentence is simple, but it is so powerful. Write simple sentences but powerful sentences. This will come through practice. One more thing which is missed out by most of the coaching institutes, as I told you, the integrity is missing. They make things complex. Deliberately they will make things complex, so that you think that ethics is so difficult, psychology is so difficult. Rocket, I am Elon Musk, I have to become Elon Musk. No, you have not to become, suppose, Elon Musk. You have to remain an average person. Go and see people who have reached their Labasna, Masuri. They are average people. People who have average IQ, much lesser than even some of you possess, much lesser than that. But the way the environment is made, that it is made out as if it is very, very tough, very complex. No, just follow the right path. As I told you, the optional essay ethics, if you follow this, work hard on this direction and maintain the other three papers, you will be able to be in the top list, the top chart finally. Likewise, there are strategies. We will be following the strategies, the techniques by taking the example. Then as syllabus has been sent to you, we will start with the theory part, and in the theory part also the chapter 1 itself, what does ethics mean, significance of ethics, ethics in human actions, its consequences, everything. Now what I suggest you to do, because see, I will be there to teach you things, I will give you each and every fault, but you must do few things which are very easy to follow. What you have to do, you have been sent the syllabus. What to do? Write down the syllabus in your own handwriting. In your own handwriting, write down the syllabus, each and every topic. Think about each and every topic. Ethics first chapter, under that subtopics, think about each and every one, each and every subtopic, bloat it, explore it, whatever knowledge you have, write it down. Then finally, paste the syllabus in your room, wherever you study, in front of your study desk. Mug up, I am saying mug up, completely mug up the each and every pointer of the syllabus. What will happen? Because once you do this, you will be able to formulate a schema in your mind, mental map, whatever information you encounter after that will be organized under these headings of the syllabus. When you go to the examination hall, you will be able to write the answer in that particular language. Probability in public life, probability in personal life, these all you will be able to use regularly. And I must tell you, my dear friends, that it is important that you use for each and every paper, GS 1, 2, 3, 4, the language of the particular paper. Unless you use the language of international relation in the IR questions, you won't get marks. Likewise, for ethics paper, you have to use the language. Your own language is there that you have to build. Then I am not saying unnecessarily putting up jargons. That I say you must avoid even in your optional. Most of you belonging to psychology. Now, but use the particular language of the discipline. Conscience, use the probity, use ethical governance in your answer, so that it reflects that you are the master of that particular subject. This is the one small tip, one small hack. We will talk about further techniques later on. What we will do, we will send you the topic which we have discussed today, the precise material. Go through that, do the exercise which I have suggested. We will discuss the questions of 2023. Through that, I will show you the technique, and then we will further develop our classes according to the syllabus mentioned. I will give you the precise material. Don't run after material here and there. Just read them, imbibe them into your system. Try to write beautiful, fantastic, expressive answers. You will get good marks. The responsibility lies with me. Unlike the other teachers who say that students probably don't have that caliber, I believe that each and everyone you have supreme caliber to achieve the best results. Now the responsibility is mine, and believe me, I will be able to hone out these skills and will push you towards the path of achieving the best possible marks in your subjects, ethics, essay and psychology all. With this, we will finish this. Take some rest after the class. Read the material which will be provided to you and do well in the exam. Stay happy, stay blessed. Good night. Thank you.